Hello. So there's a BCBA that I've been managing for the last 3 years. And to say the least, she is a very inflexible employee. So over the last couple of years, one of the biggest challenges we've had is just her not being able to hit her 25 hours a week consistently. So over the last 3 years, I would say her average utilization was about 75 or 80%. Now, a lot of the challenges were not completely in her control. So there were times where many of her kids on her caseload would lose an RBT, or odds will go inactive due to insurance issues, or clients will go on hold, whatever the case is. One of the biggest challenges is that she is a travel BCBA. So on her travel week, she was not hitting her 25 hours a week. But the way that the caseloads are built is that even on your travel week, she should be hitting your 25 hours a week. So over the last 6 months, our company has been doing a lot of restructuring and there has been a bigger focus on utilization. So norms previously that were kind of reinforced are no longer being reinforced. So now it's at a point that all B-Space need to be having 180 RBT hours per week under them, 35 hours available to them to bill. So despite cancellations, they're still hitting their hours. So over the last 3 years, she's probably received about two write-ups, three policy reviews, and like a few general events because of things like this, like not hitting her hours, or if I give her suggestions, I'll say, hey, like three of your clients are on hold. We have these assessments that need to be done to get you more hours. Can you do them? And she'll straight up say no. So it's kind of things like that over the last couple of years where it's like she's just not meeting job expectations. So it almost kind of felt like she felt that she was a little bit invincible. And she would take the write up, she would take a policy review, she'll straight up tell me no. So now we're at the point where she needs to be hitting her hours or her job is at risk. So a situation happened a couple weeks ago where HR and my operations manager, VP of operations got looped in and they're like, "Hey, we need to set up a meeting with this BCBA. If she's not taking on these two extra clients that we need her to take on, um then, her job could be at risk." So before we got on the call, I tried to prepare because we have built a relationship. We do have a rapport, and like I feel like I know her well enough to know kind of how to ease her into these things. But I was just letting her know, like, hey, it's to the point where like you need to take these clients or your job could be at risk. So when we got on the call, if we want to go through the six characteristics, the source, who is giving the feedback that matters. So I started with myself because we have the rapport, we have the relationship, and I was kindly trying to say, like, hey, I need you to take on these two clients. You're low on hours. All BCBAs need to be at 180 billable hours. Unfortunately, if you do not take on these two clients, you're not going to be in compliance with our expectations. So as I kind of started out, I was giving her that feedback, and she's the type to try to like not trick you, but like try to say yes to something, but then down the line be like, oh, like you never said that, right? So we kind of went through the conversation and she's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take on a client. And the my VP of operations and HR not knowing her, they kind of thought that that was it. They're like, okay, cool, like great. And I was like, wait, before we get off this call, let me clarify. I need you to take on two clients. I need to take on both of these clients and it needs to be effective immediately. So then basically she was like, no, like I'm not doing that because I knew she was trying to kind of trick us off the phone. So then at that point, the HR director and VP of operations had to step in a little bit more on the call because I tried to be the initial middleman. But then since she was still saying no to me, we had to kind of escalate it that way. Um, Medium refers to how the feedback is delivered, such as verbally, written, or email. So it was verbal, it was over a Teams call with all four of us because again, I've been trying to give her this feedback one-on-one for several months first, but it got to a point where I was like, hey, at this point, you are willingly saying no to job, like meeting job expectations. You're telling me no. So at this point, I need to loop in HR. Like there's nothing else I can do because you're telling me no. And now I have to reconsider like your position overall. Um, the frequency. So this was a one-time conversation. Again, this big conversation with all four of us was a one-time thing, but this has been ongoing discussions over the last several years. Again, it's been documented on in written warnings, policy reviews, general events. General event is just like if we have a conversation and it's not necessarily like a write-up, but like I'm just noting it so anybody in leadership can see it. That's pretty much what a general event is. The participants, we kind of already talked about that. The privacy, it was a private conversation. It was just us four. It was only disclosed to individuals who needed to know. So the VP of operations, the COO, if needed, the HR director, and myself. And then the content. So the specifics of this feedback was you need to take on these 2 clients because your caseload is low and we don't have any other options but these 2 clients. We need all BCBAs at 180 BT hours per week. You're only at 95. Taking on these 2 clients will put you at your goal, and that's the expectation. Long story short, it did not go well. To say the least, she ended up resigning abruptly during that conversation call. Um, so yeah, it's been a long 3 years of kind of that back and forth. So it probably was for the best. But yeah, I would say this did not really go in our favor because we would have loved for her to take on the 2 clients and just improve in this area. But her flexibility across the last 3 years has just been a lot. So it kind of worked out for us.